Good morning, BookTube. It's Monday. It is Veterans Day, so to you veterans out there, thank you for your service. The children are at school, my wife's at work, I've got the place to myself. The library obviously is closed today. So, a little cold outside. We're going to have snow today. So the season has begun. But I thought I'd do bookshelf tour number 12. Finishing up this little section. It's been a bit of a mix from around the British Isles primarily. And then I was going to move on to the Italian and some other literature, but I'm thinking about, because I'm writing upstairs so much, I call it the garret, just to be facetious. It's just the landing at the top of the far end of the top of the stairs leading upstairs. Because I'm writing up there, and that's where the fantasy and science fiction and that sort of stuff is, I may just finish this up, start touring up there a bit so I can have the camera all in one spot and concentrate. I've got some catching up to do on NaNoWriMo, National Novel Writing Month. I'm a little over 14,000 words. I should be a little higher than that right now, so I'll try to have a good run today with the writing. I've got the ideas, I just need to put them together. So let's just get right to the books. So first here we have V.S. Pritchett, The Essential Pritchett, Selected Writings. Paper thing came out right after his death, I believe. It's a mix of fiction and non-fiction. When did this come out? This came out in 1997. And has a memoriam by John Bailey. And so sections are autobiography, travel writing, novels, short stories, biography, and then literary criticism. So then this other one's one I've been dipping into. It's not in very good shape. I get it because I want to read it even if it isn't in good shape. So let me get the cat out of here. This is Anthony Powell's Memoirs. You can get a little bit of glare there. I'm enjoying this very much. Let me see here. Nothing like dead air time on the Penguin Books anyway, and it's 1982 it looks like. It's getting a little yellowed. You can see that. Let's have some photos. It's an interesting story. There's times with these fiction writers where I actually like their memoirs and that sort of thing better than I do the fiction, but I haven't read a ton of his fiction. I know a lot of folks have. This here is a biography of a writer I very much enjoy, Patrick Leigh Fermor. He was a travel writer of the first order. There's a trilogy of his walk across from the Hook of Holland all the way to Constantinople. The last volume was, the Broken Road from the Iron Gates to Mount Athos, right here. I grabbed this off another shelf. I probably shouldn't be doing that, but Colin Thuberon and Artemis Cooper edited it and put it together. He was quite a fascinating guy. Everybody called him Patty Fermor, Patrick Leigh Fermor. Helped capture Nazi general during the Second World War. He fought with the partisans in Crete, and he was literary but also an adventurer. This biography is magnificent if you can find it. There he is, right there. And I learned a lot from it. There he is with some friends at his house in Greece. So yeah, it's one of those things that if you can find it, the biography's good, even if you haven't read the travel writing, which of course, if you get a chance. Then I've got a couple of these things here. Elegy for Iris by John Bailey. Iris and Her Friends by Bailey, who we just saw with In Memoriam, right? And I don't know why I still have these. They were something at the time. They're in good shape, but I don't think I'd need to keep them. But we will revisit them after this shelf tour. The next one I definitely want to keep, and that's Paul West, 5th of November, Gunpowder Plot, wonderful novel. This is New Directions paperback. So I think it's number 1002. I don't know how that numbering system works, but he has quite a list of writing credits. I know him chiefly from this book, and a book I very, very, very much like. Then we have William Trevor, Fools of Fortune. I just read this, oh geez. Sorry about my watch here. It must have been this year, or maybe last year. We have one of these Folio Society things here. This thing's going to go on forever, I guess. It knows I can't fix it. It's set for 8 o'clock every day, whether I need to or not. Stella Gibbons, Cold Comfort Farm, with watercoloring drawings by Quentin Blake. Many of you will know this story. Folio's pretty well known for this type of, not this type, but having artwork or historical photographs or that sort of thing. Sometimes commissioned introductions. I'm not a great fan of this type of art, his art, but a lot of people really like it. Then we go to another Folio Society. This is Penelope Fitzgerald, the first of her books that I ever read. Introduced by, so it's The Blue Flower, introduced by Neil Mukherjee and illustrated by James Albin. And this came out in 1995. And the folio is 2015. The art's a little bit better. To my taste. It's not better, it's just to my taste. This I got is one of those mystery books. So if you ordered, they'd send you something. They weren't going to extras for free. They weren't going to tell you what it was. I went for it, always worried that I would, of course, get something I already had. But in this case, I got it, I thought, well, probably wouldn't have picked it up. It's about the romantic novalis, and read it and loved it. So it goes to show you, try things outside your comfort zone, right? This next thing is another folio. Rumpole of the Bailey. By John Mortimer. I love these things. This is from 1994, with selected and introduced by the author, illustrations by Paul Cox. Rumpole is great fun. If you haven't read them, you just you got a treat in store for you. So I read them, reread them, revisit them. I don't know if I've read them all or not, because I have them in such random volumes. Like this one here is Rumpole and the Peng Bungalow Murders, Viking. It's missing its dust jacket. The dust jacket would have been very similar to the next one I'm going to show you. This came out when, I love when they have this, 900 feet of credits here. 2004. they've done BBC, PBS type productions of these as a series. This is Rumpole Misbehaves. So this one would have been out. So and the series is good. This is 2007. Moving along here, we have a floppy trade paperback, Edward Rutherford's London. I don't know why I have this one up here either. I like him. He writes a lot with that grand scope like Michener, who we'll see later, James Michener. I really think his best novel I've read, I haven't read everything he's done, so it's probably not fair to say, but the best of the ones I've read, was Sarum, about Salisbury and Salisbury Cathedral and all that. Wonderful book. I should have this one gone and that one in its place. Speaking of historical fiction, it'd be awful difficult to do any better than this. Wolf Hall, Hilary Mantel. Just absolutely loved it. Thomas Cromwell. Here's some of the... One of those novels that comes along here. Oh, this is great. So I have here Sir Thomas More. And I have here Cromwell himself. So I don't know why they're in there. Probably couldn't figure out any better place to put them. This is the follow-up. It's Bringing Up the Bones. And the great wait in the literary world is for Volume 3, which should be coming out here who knows when. Here's another author I hadn't read before until I read this. This is Penelope Lively, Dancing Fish and Ammonites, a memoir. Absolutely wonderful. Like I say, I hadn't read her before, and now I will go back. I did purchase her gardening book for the library, and dipped in and out of that and enjoyed it too. So maybe somebody I should follow up with more. Here's a book I really like. This one's cocked a little bit. You see that? That's what happens. It gets pushed to one side. I've tried like Jason Harrigan on Byways and Bookland, good channel. Done the whole thing where you take a section of leaves and you keep going back and forth to try to straighten it out. In this case, it helped a little bit, but it's still cocked off to the side. I would replace it, except for it's a volume that's very difficult to find here. And yeah, it's a Faber and Faber book, so I will keep it until I can replace it. The next one here is also Alan Bennett, and this is The Uncommon Reader, where a royal personage becomes a reader, and that causes all sorts of havoc. A little short thing. Absolutely, if you haven't read it, go ahead. I mean, it's 45 minutes of your time for a wonderful story about books. Then Peter Ackroyd, The Fall of Troy, a novel. I have tons and tons of this author's nonfiction. Just somebody I really enjoy. I have one on the Thames. I have one Albion, which is about British cultural history. He's just done tons of stuff that's really good. Then here's sort of a standard, The English Patient, Michael Ondajate. I can never say his name, even when somebody says it for me. 2 minutes later, I've lost it. But a well-known story and a pretty decent movie. I know there's a tag going around BookTube where you compare the book and movie, or pair them. Again, a book and a movie. In this case, I don't know if the book came out later, but this edition of it did, obviously, with the cover. The King's Speech. Then A.S. Bryant, another writer. I've got plenty of her works. This is The Gin in the Nightingale's Eye, 5 Fairy Stories. When did this thing come out? This is a small little thing, Random House, New York. First U.S. edition, 1994, and I think it was illustrated, if I remember right. Sometimes with the deckled edges, which I do like. I'm one of those people who likes deckled edges, but if you're trying to track down an illustration, they can be a bit of a challenge. And then we finish up with Faladin, a memoir by Roger Humphreys. Beautiful cover. Excellent book. When did this come out? 2014. And that is a pretty good way to end this shelf tour. Like I say, maybe I'll take a look at how I'm going to follow this. Do I go over to the continue on just in this room, or break it up a little bit? We'll have to see. I'm going to go finish my coffee and get upstairs and start writing. I hope you all have a wonderful Veterans Day, and we'll see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.